Hey everybody, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Always a pleasure to be back.
Today we're heading down south to the bayous and swamps of
Lush.
Louisiana.
Love it.
We've got a whole stack of articles and reports all about the incredible animals that call Louisiana home.
You know, Louisiana is one of the most biodiverse states in the U.S.
Really?
Yeah, it's amazing.
So we've got to talk about the iconic American alligator,
Of course.
but we'll also be exploring some lesser-known creatures like the Louisiana crawfish
Crawfish is fascinating.
and the
yeah.
red-cockaded woodpecker.
They're actually facing some tough times, those woodpeckers.
Oh, that's sad. Well, we are ready to uncover the secrets of these creatures and learn how we can help them thrive. So where should we start?
Let's talk about the red-cockaded woodpecker.
Okay.
Because it's a great example of how conservation can be, well, sometimes pretty complicated.
Okay.
So this bird, they depend entirely on the longleaf pine ecosystem. But those forests have been shrinking for a long time now.
No. So what can we do? Just plant more trees?
Well, planting helps, but the real key is fire.
Fire?
Yeah. We actually use controlled burns
Oh, wow.
to kind of mimic the natural fires that used to happen there.
Oh, I see.
So it sounds counterintuitive.
It does.
But these burns clear out all the underbrush,
Yeah.
and that creates the perfect habitat for the woodpeckers.
Wow. So we're basically fighting fire with fire.
Exactly.
That's pretty wild.
It is.
And speaking of wild, how can we talk about Louisiana without mentioning the American alligator? I know that they were endangered at one point, weren't they?
Yeah, and actually they were hunted almost to extinction.
Wow.
But thanks to a lot of efforts like strict regulations, habitat restoration, and even alligator farming, they've made a huge comeback.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And there are some alligator farms that are actually helping by releasing baby alligators back into the wild.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, it really shows you how much of a difference we can make when we put in the effort.
Absolutely.
And speaking of putting in effort, what about the Gulf sturgeon? Our sources mentioned they're facing a bunch of different challenges.
Right, the Gulf sturgeon. Now, this is an ancient fish.
Oh,
I mean, they've been around for a long time.
Wow.
And they migrate from the Gulf of Mexico all the way up rivers to spawn.
Okay.
But the problem is all these dams that have been built, they block their migration routes.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So what do we do? Tear down all the dams?
Well, that's not really feasible in most cases.
Okay.
But there are ways to make them, you know, a little more fish-friendly.
Okay.
Things like fish ladders or bypass channels can really help the sturgeon get around those obstacles.
Oh, that's great.
And we're also focusing on improving water quality,
Right.
which helps the sturgeon and all the other creatures that live in the rivers.
That makes sense. It sounds like there's a lot of problem solving that has to go into all this conservation work.
There is.
Yeah. And it's really encouraging to see all these innovative solutions. Have we seen that in any other species?
Oh, absolutely. A great example is the Kemp's Ridley sea turtle.
Oh, yeah. I read a little bit about those.
They were in serious trouble because they kept getting caught in shrimp nets.
Oh, no.
And drowning.
Yeah.
But then someone came up with a brilliant idea called a turtle excluder device,
Okay.
or a TED for short.
Got it.
And basically, it's a device that's built right into the shrimp nest and acts as an escape hatch for the pearl.
So it lets the shrimp in, but not the turtles.
Exactly. It's so simple, but so effective.
That's amazing. It's like they're saving turtles one shrimp net at a time.
You got it. And it's a good reminder that sometimes even a small change can make a big difference.
Yeah. You know, that reminds me of another comeback story. We have to talk about our state bird, the brown pelican.
Oh, yeah, they have a pretty amazing story, too.
I know. They were nearly wiped out by that pesticide, DDT.
That's right, DDT. It weakened their eggshells,
Yeah.
so they couldn't reproduce successfully.
Oh, wow.
But once DDT was banned, their population started to bounce back.
So they were able to lay healthy eggs again.
Exactly. And along with efforts to restore their coastal island habitats, the pelicans have made a remarkable recovery.
That's so encouraging. It really highlights how seemingly small changes, like choosing to use safer pesticides, can have such a huge impact on the environment.
It all adds up. You know, we talked about a lot of birds today.
Yeah, we have.
But there's another fascinating creature that I think we need to discuss.
Oh, okay. Lead the way.
Okay, let's slither over to the eastern indigo snake.
Okay, the eastern indigo snake, I did read a little bit about them.
They're facing some serious threats, mostly from habitat loss.
That's right, and I think our sources mentioned they're important for controlling rodent populations.
Yeah, you got it. They're a top predator, so they help keep things in balance.
So how are we helping them?
Well, there are a lot of folks working on habitat restoration, and there are also reintroduction programs.
So they're breeding them in captivity and then releasing them back into the wild.
Exactly. It's a delicate process, but it's showing some promising results.
It's incredible to see the dedication of all these people working to protect these amazing animals. You know, we've been talking about all these majestic creatures.
Yeah.
But let's take a moment to appreciate something a little smaller and maybe not as glamorous, but still absolutely vital to Louisiana's ecosystem and economy.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Hit me with it.
The crawfish.
The crawfish.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not the most glamorous feature, but they're definitely a Louisiana icon.
They are. I mean, they might be small, but they're a keystone species. Meaning that their presence or absence affects the entire ecosystem.
Oh, wow.
Their burrows aerate the soil, they're a food source for all kinds of animals, and...
Right, and we can't forget the economic impact.
Yeah.
I mean, crawfish boils, festivals, the whole thing, it's huge.
It's a big part of Louisiana's culture.
But with all that demand, is there a risk of overfishing?
Oh, definitely. That's why sustainable harvesting practices are so important.
Things like
size limits, seasonal closures, that sort of thing. We need to make sure that the crawfish populations stay healthy.
Right.
So that we can keep enjoying them for generations to come.
Exactly. So we've covered a lot of ground today, from the mighty alligator to the humble crawfish.
We have. It's amazing how diverse Louisiana's wildlife is.
It really is. And it seems like every creature plays a role in this intricate web of life. What would you say are the biggest takeaways you want our listeners to remember from this deep dive?
I think the biggest thing is that everything's connected. The choices we make, even the small ones, they can have a huge impact on these animals.
It's all about understanding those connections and working to protect them.
It's exactly.
You know, we've seen incredible successes.
Right.
And we've talked about ongoing challenges. And it really makes me think, what can our listeners do to make a difference? What actions can they take to help protect this amazing biodiversity? It's something to really think about.
Absolutely. And any action, no matter how small, can make a difference. Supporting conservation organizations, making informed choices when you're shopping, or even just talking to your friends and family about these creatures, it all adds up.
Louisiana's biodiversity is a treasure.
It is.
And we all have a role to play in protecting it. So until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.
See you next time.